he got arrested for a felony on a felony charge, and it was $50,000 bond. So he's currently
Even if the fake beer can was fake and it was empty, just somebody doing anything to your head, like any little, you know what I'm saying, contact that someone might make with your head when you have a concussion can hurt and make it way worse. So of course he would be irritated off that. So I would understand, bro, if right when, you know what I'm saying, he hit you with that can, you crashed out on him, right? But it's the fact that you know what I'm saying, right here in this scene where he apologized, he said, hey, bro, I thought you was one of them, bro, my fault, gang. And you was like, oh yeah, bro, it's all good. And then you go ahead and you do what you did to him, bro. Like, he slammed him on his head and punched him like 23, 27 times. You could have killed that man. It's really no reason for you to do all that. You was trying to do something to that man, bro. Raja Jackson finally arrested for brutal attack? Video by Hello Yasin Extras. Now, I didn't know that he was finally arrested. I damn near forgot about the situation. It's been so long and everybody's went so silent about it, I kind of forgot that it happened, but apparently he's been arrested. Let's see what's going on.
What's poppin', y'all? Raja Jackson, the son of Rampage Jackson, former UFC fighter, has finally been arrested for the incident that happened nearly a month ago at a wrestling event. Now, this situation started prior to the situation. Raja Jackson was sparring, and he's streaming as well, had been streaming, and he got head kicked really hard. He wobbled a little bit, and he was concussed from it. And during that time, while he was recovering from the concussion, he was out and about streaming. He finds himself at this wrestling event, and at the wrestling event, someone comes up to him, and this guy, Psycho Stu, with the big beard, and he hits him on the head with a empty beer can. And then after that, he gets really angry. Raja Jackson gets really angry, and people break it up, and Psycho Stu apologizes. The wrestler that hit him with that, he thought he was part of the set, or he thought he was part of what was going on.
Now, it's kind of understandable for you to crash out in that instance, especially considering you got a concussion beforehand. Even if the fake beer can was fake and it was empty, just somebody doing anything to your head, like any little, you know what I'm saying, contact that someone might make with your head when you have a concussion can hurt and make it way worse. So of course he would be irritated off that. And also here, you know what I'm saying, his dad, Rampage Jackson, he do be like trying to play this nigga, calling him a hoe and a bitch and all things like that. So he got things in his head where he feel like he got to constantly prove himself, and he's approval seeking. So I would understand, bro, if right when, you know what I'm saying, he hit you with that can, you crashed out on him, right? But it's the fact that you know what I'm saying, right here in this scene where he apologized, he said, hey, bro, I thought you was one of them, bro, my fault, gang. As in one of the crew, or you was in on, you know what I'm saying, the stunt. Like you was a part of the cast, like, you know what I'm saying? But no, that was not the case. And he apologized. He said, yo, my fault, bro. And he was like, oh yeah, bro, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? And then you go ahead and you do what you did to him, bro. Like he slammed him on his head and punched him like 23, 27 times or something like that. Man was already unconscious, bro. And you punched him that many times. You could have killed that man, bro. You could have killed that man. It's really no reason for you to do all that. Maybe I understand why you crashed, or you know, you slammed him because they told him to do that. I think his friend, he was like, hey bro, you could get your receipt and get your revenge, you know what I'm saying, in the ring, settle it in the ring. So he was doing it for that. But like to punch him 27 times, it's like, bro, you was trying to do something to that man, bro.
They tell Raja Jackson that he's allowed to go in the ring and get his get back. They're like, yo, you can get your get back. You're allowed to go in the ring and get your lick back. So he goes in the ring and he takes the guy down, part of like a wrestling move, and he hits him and he keeps hitting him and he absolutely brutalizes him until they rip him off of the guy, Psycho Stu. And that guy's older. He looks to be in his late 30s, maybe early 40s, maybe even mid 40s. And the guy's teeth were not, people thought that he was dead, laid out dead.
His teeth was knocked
Raja
out.
Jackson would be yelling and say, yeah, you know, like people aren't going to mess with me. And he was recently arrested. The people weren't sure what was going to happen. People thought that it was attempted murder. People were hoping for this guy to survive, and he did. He got out, but he got arrested for a felony on a felony charge, and it was $50,000 bond. So he's currently still behind bars, probably overnight. He'll most likely bond out today by the time this video comes out, and we're set to see what happens from here. I personally thought that he wouldn't be charged. I didn't think that Psycho Stu would press charges, but maybe it's the police that decided that from what the information that they gathered, they had enough to arrest him and charge him with something. We don't know his official charge yet. We just know that it's a felony as reported by TMZ. And this has to be a really tough time for Raja Jackson. I know a lot of people don't feel any sympathy for him whatsoever. whatever and think he's just this brute that's out to kill. And like I said previously in the previous video, I don't think that's the case, because if he was just a impulsive brute, then immediately once he was hit over the head with that beer can, he would have just launched into violence, and he would not have taken time to process.
He definitely got riled up and, like, you know what I'm saying, instigated by his dad in the chat, because I think on the day of, his dad was like, bro, you over there wrestling with naked men, bro? What you doing? Men in tights? What you want, bro? And then the chat was like, oh, bro, you a hoe, bro. You just gonna let that slide, what he did to you? So everybody was in his ear playing it up, trying to rage bait him successfully. I guess they did. And he had the concussion going on as well, which, you know, it might have mess with his decision making to a degree. So you know, it's hard to say you can't fault him, bro, because he still did do what he did. He was enough in his right mind to follow instructions and wait for somebody to tap him on the shoulder to be like, all right, bro, it's time to go get your get back. But he didn't have enough common sense to not try and kill him. Like, hey, bro, it's hard to say, man.
It. But his father had called him after he saw that clip, and his father, Rampage Jackson, was on the call with him and telling him, like, man, son, you're not gonna let people punk you like that. What's going on? So I think that really amped up Raja Jackson for him to go in there.
Blood all over his shirt.
It's really sad when we would find out that Rampage Jackson had cut off Raja Jackson and was not speaking to him this was on September 3rd. So for weeks he would not speak to his own.
Dad, by the way, bro, you gonna rage bait him and then just like pull the plug? You're not even gonna support him, say nothing about him, you know what I'm saying? Is you gonna pay that bill? Like, you feel me? You said you had the bail money ready for your son. I'm pretty sure you said that in one of them clips, but you're not gonna pay that $50K. I know you got it, bro. I know you do. Instead, you gonna cut off your son at his time of need where he needs you more than ever, bro. That's kind of messed up.
Son, when he's awaiting the hardest,
people really be for themselves, bro. It's crazy
moment of his life. Now, he was already concussed. He brutalized that guy. He doesn't know if he's gonna get arrested or not. The entire internet hates him. They hate him, and he brought out the worst of the internet. Like, he brought out racists, people that are white supremacists, and then, you know, you can't imagine what they're calling him, the death threats that he's receiving. So in an interview with Ariel Helwani, he asks Rampage Jackson about why he's not talking to his son, and I'm gonna play you guys that clip right now.
Are you at all worried about his well-being?
Yeah, it's my son. I am worried about his well-being. How many kids you got?
I got 3.
All right. So why you asking me some stupid?
Well, can I be real with you?
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it would feel like to see my son do that. I also don't think I would cut my son off if he did that. So if you are worried about his well-being, why are you not talking to him?
Because he dishonored my name. And
but he's still your son.
No, listen. I know he's my son. I'm not cutting him off for forever. I just haven't talked to him.
But this is the worst moment of his life.
I don't think anybody's seen what Raja did and was like, yo, Rampage, what the heck, bro? Like, they started blaming him. I don't think anybody really did that. And if they did, it was like, I don't know. You feel me? You really shouldn't have did that. You should blame the man himself, not his dad, just because they got the same name. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a grown man right there. He making his own decisions. So I don't know about that, bro.
He needs you now more than ever.
No, listen, I talked to him.
I don't think he dishonored your name, bro.
After this happened, and he hid the fact that he did this shit, and, you know, he put my other kids at danger.
What do you mean he hid the fact that he did it? What do you mean? It's hard to hide something like that, especially when it's live streamed, bro. You could literally just go back and watch the clip. That's what the kids say nowadays. Go back and watch the clip. Like, you know what I'm saying? You could have did that. What you mean he hid it, bro? What did he say to you? Did he say, oh, nothing happened? As he hid the blood on his shirt, like, come on, guy.
Based off what the other people said, and I just can't talk to him right now. I just can't. I'm not saying I'm never going to talk to him again. I just can't talk to him right now. I need some time. I'm dealing with his attorneys and all this, but I'm very disappointed in Roger. Like, yeah, I'm not a perfect parent, so I don't know what's the protocol.
And I just hate coming on here and like judging other people, bro, because he's not a perfect parent. He said nobody's a perfect person. You know, it just happens that he's in the spotlight. You know, who's to say that if they wasn't famous, he wouldn't have done the same thing? But then again, if they was famous, he wouldn't have a name that would have been dishonored through Roger's actions. So he probably wouldn't have cut him off. But maybe just a moral thing. It's like, oh, son, you tried to kill a man, I'm cutting you up. Maybe he would have did the same thing, but people could argue, well, that's not right. That's your son. You got to be there for him. It's like, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, Nobody's perfect, and I just hate coming up on here trying to like act like I'm perfect, by the way, because it just so happens that he's famous so that his mistakes get amplified millions of times more than anybody else.
So how much time you stop from talking to your son when he goes out there and hurt somebody? He put a guy in a hospital.
Rampage is certainly right to be disappointed in him, and I'm a little bit confused with the part where he says he tried to hide that he did that when we all saw it on video. I don't know how that could be hidden, but
Yeah.
I think he has, and he says like he really disappointed him and he dishonored his name, and I would understand if he distanced himself from it, but it's almost as if he was agitated to do that because you were disappointed in him when you called him for somebody playing with his name or disrespecting him and not to let people disrespect him. And that type of talk, especially from an authority figure that he looks up to, whether it could even be a coach, but in this case it's his father who he likely idolizes. He looks at you as a legend. Many people look at Rampage as a legend that are fighters that aren't even his son, so imagine you're his son as well, and then him getting cut off after that, I think that's got to be heartbreaking for Raja Jackson. And Rampage, he also wanted some accountability to be taken by Psycho Stu and the organizers. And I'm going to play you guys this clip right now.
You know, where would we be if Roger would have killed that man? Where would we be? Thank God Psycho Stu, you know what I'm saying, pulled through. You know, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I stopped listening to the attorneys. I got really upset with all the death threats and all this stuff. And I wanted Psycho Stu to tell his part that my son did not sneak up on him. And I never heard him say that. So now I'm upset. Now I'm upset. Now I'm upset with Psycho Stu because he didn't come out and say, "Oh, whoa, yeah, well, Roger."
Yeah, the wrestling organization, I ain't gonna lie, you just gonna let a man that's never practiced with y'all before, he don't know how to fake stunts or do nothing like that, you just gonna let him in the ring? That was kind of flawed. I ain't even gonna lie, bro. I ain't even gonna lie. We do gotta be looking at them kind of sideways, but Roger still did do what he did at the end of the day.
It was up, but he didn't sneak in the ring and do this. This staged. That's all he had to say to get some of these racist motherfuckers out of my DMs. Hey, he's seeing all this. How
See, you saying that, you defending him is like, bro, you could have did all that and you could have not cut him off. You could have defended your son a little bit, be like, hey, son, I ain't gonna lie, what he did was wrong. But like, let's not act like that company not wrong too, man. Like, you could have said that while you holding your son, like, you know what I'm saying? You still with him, like, yo, son, hey, man, you did what you did, but I'm your dad at the end of the day, so I still got you. Like, you feel me? I got the bail money, my nigga, when you need it. You know what I'm saying? Let me know. You could have still had his back that way, bro. You could have still reprimanded him and not disown him, but say, you know what I'm saying, what's it called? Denounce his actions. You could have did that. But why denounce him as your son entirely? It's like, come on, bro.
blew up and stuff like that, he should at least said something.
Okay.
Because what are you not talking to him? Because you said you're going to come back to him eventually. What does you not talking to him do for him? What does that really do? That's a grown man. It's not like he's gonna be like, Dad, please talk to me. It's like, bro, that's a grown man. He don't need you to talk to him every day. I hope not. So what is that gonna do? You giving him some time? Like, you gonna put bro on a timeout, ground him from talking to you? Like, what does that actually do?
Take some accountability. Like, honestly, none of it. Everybody was wrong. Roger was the most wrong. Everybody was wrong, but none of this ever would have happened if Psycho Stu never hit my son on the back of the head with a can that they were drinking beer out of.
See, yeah, he's just crashing. He's just looking to blame anybody but himself right now, bro. It's like, he asked you, why did you cut your son off? And now you're saying, why did Psycho Stu hit my son with a can? But you got to read the room.
And then grabbed him by the neck, asked him to sell it. If that never happened, none of it never happened. And the promoters was wrong for putting an outsider inside a pro wrestling match.
You're not wrong.
The dumbest thing I ever seen.
Seems like everybody wrong but you though, my boy.
Nightmare.
I do think Rampage Jackson has a point here. Now, what he's saying is that when this clip spreads around the internet and the amount of hate that he's getting, and for Rampage Jackson, someone whose humor is quite insensitive, he is not somebody that gets triggered lightly. So for him to use the word that, like, yo, these racist people are all up on my stuff and they're harassing me and my other kids, I believe that it's probably worse things than you could possibly imagine that are being said to him and they're threatening him with, because the people that see the clip, they think that, oh, this guy just hopped out of his chair, went into the the ring and started wailing on the guy. And what Rampage is saying is like, yo, I would appreciate it if at least these guys said, no, we organized this as a skit. It was part of the show for him to go in. It just went a little bit too far. And that's the distinction that Rampage Jackson wants made. Psycho, and he's like, yo, Psycho Stu, if he had never hit my son over the head, this would have never happened either. And he is correct. Like this was a lot of series of mistakes that built up to this explosive moment that ruined a lot of people's lives and or reputations. However, Rampage was also extending an olive branch. Like Psycho Stu, he had teeth knocked out. That's how brutally Raja had been putting hands on him. And he had gotten out healthy and okay from the hospital. And Rampage had been collaborating because Rampage has still been streaming this entire time, which I can't imagine how difficult that is for him because he's still got to be entertaining and put on a show for all of the people watching him whilst going through this. So he has to act out a lot more. But he's been collaborating with this dentist, this cosmetic dentist, and getting people's teeth fixed and stuff like that. And what he did is he wanted to cover the teeth for Psycho Stu. So I'm going to play you guys that clip right now.
Can I nominate an American to get his smile back? Yeah. His name is Psycho Stu. I pay for that out of my pocket. You the man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm waiting for him to call me back.
Okay, sure thing. Just let me know.
Was that genuine, or are you doing that for the, you know what I'm saying, the publicity, big bro, for the court of public opinions, I wonder?
And it's unfortunate because the race people that had so much to say about Rampage Jackson and just want to label him and his son as these people that are uncivilized and can't like function in regular society and they're violent and this and that. They're not going to talk about this. They're not going to spread this clip around.
Yeah.
They're not going
I didn't even know that was a thing because only negativity gets shared on the internet, man.
to show that Rampage
Or it's a lot more loud, or it's a lot more vocalized than positivity for sure.
actually feels bad about how this entire situation turned out, and so much so that he's not just jumping to his son's defense. Like, that's the easy thing for somebody to do. Like, my son was right, you were wrong, you shouldn't have done that, you would have known better. No, he's disappointed in his son, so much so that he cut his son off, which people disagree with that approach as well. But he's not going to sit there and say that that guy had no involvement in agitating the situation and what eventually happened to him from his son and the people at the event and the person that encouraged Roger Jackson to get in there and hit him if he wanted to get his get back for the situation. So I think, unfortunately, this just turned out poorly. But the part that I found really odd was when he said Roger Jackson should do some time. I'm going to play you guys that clip right now.
All that, Roger, I think that he should do a little time, do a little community service, and go to anger management class, see some therapy.
Bro, why are you saying that like you're not his pops? Like, you could still say all them things, but why denounce him? Be like, hey son, I ain't gonna lie, you did what you did, you gonna serve that time, do that community service, and we gonna put you in anger management, man. Like, take accountability for your son, bro. Even though it's not your fault, that's still your son, that's your seed, bro. Why is you just abandoning him? That's crazy.
But you know, that goes like some people said it was attempted murder and things like that. That's not a little time.
It wasn't attempted murder because he wasn't trying to kill that guy.
Okay.
How do you know?
Because I that's my son. I know my son. Roger wasn't trying to kill nobody. He wasn't trying to kill that. He wasn't trying to kill the guy. Roger probably didn't even know how bad he hurt that guy. He wasn't trying to kill that guy.
I literally think he said in a clip, I'm gonna mess him up. They're gonna have to pull me off that man, bro. I'm gonna just keep hitting him. It's like, he was trying to do something, man. He was trying to do something. And you were partially responsible for, you know what I'm saying, amping him up. It's like, you can't blame you fully because he still chose to do what he did. He didn't have to do what he did just because you called him like a hoe or something. But you definitely influenced him, for sure.
The problem is everything got blown out of proportion, and people thought that Roger snuck into the ring and did that. That's what the problem is. Like, you know, at this point, Roger was in the act as a pro wrestler, but he ain't no pro wrestler. The promoters had no reason putting my son in that ring. So, but it was no attempted murder.
I think that's a really tough thing to say as a father, and I think that's a really tougher thing to hear as his son. Because keep in mind, the only thing that he's hearing from his father, because he's not talking to him, is via social media. So he's hearing that he's got to do time and community service. This is a really hard situation because when I kind of don't want Roger Jackson to sit there and do time, but I'm thinking, yo, if Psycho Stu was very, very close to me, a close friend or family, would my emotions cause me to feel different about Roger Jackson doing time? And I think it would. That's why it's so hard for me to say whether he deserves time or not. But the attempted murder that they were saying would potentially come down the pipeline did not happen. Ariel Helwani said, oh, like they're saying it's attempted murder. He's like, nah, it's not attempted murder because he just caught a felony. If it was attempted murder, we would have heard about it. So it's probably just like felony assault or something like that. But it would be his first offense. I just wouldn't want the guy to have a criminal record because the guy's not a criminal. From what we've seen, he's 25 years old. If the guy was a criminal, he would have had a criminal record by then. So it's really more of the record than the punishment, the way that I look at it. And him doing a little community service, I do think that makes sense. Anger management for sure, because when he gets angry, he really gets angry. And I think the way that his father looks at him has a lot to do with how angry he gets. But you guys let me know what you think about this in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you...
Hey, man, WVID, man. WVID. Ain't gonna lie. The fact that he got arrested after all this time, I mean, I guess they had to really just take their time and find out what they wanted to charge him with. You know what I'm saying? He's there. Apparently he's getting out soon, if not already out. You know what I'm saying? The bail's posted. Somebody probably gonna pay that. Hopefully his dad, right? But I just don't understand why he had to abandon his son. It's like, bro, you could have still, you know what I'm saying? You could have been like, son, I don't approve of your actions, man, but I'm your dad, so we gonna figure this out together. You feel me? That would have been great. And it's clear that he looks up to you to a certain degree, and just your rage baiting was a little too good. Like, you gotta chill sometimes, bro. Like, you see what he done did, bro, because he wanted to prove himself to you, man. Like, that's crazy. So yeah, bro, I ain't gonna lie. It's definitely Roger's fault for doing what he did, but his pops definitely need to take some accountability and stand up, you know what I'm saying, for his son. Not stand up for his son, but like, you know what I'm saying, be there for the nigga. You feel me? You can kind of just be like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying, what he did was bad. That's still my son, though. I'm gonna support him. I'm gonna do my best to make sure this don't happen again. That's all you gotta do. But he ain't even want to do that, man. It's crazy. But yeah, man, this was a great video. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the update. I certainly did. If you enjoyed the video, also make sure to like the vid, comment, and subscribe. Thank y'all for watching. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Love y'all. Peace.